questions? Okay, any questions related to what we've been discussing so far on the topic of karma? We'll see if there's any question on that first, and then we can open up. There's one question that I would like to share, was asked. It's a scenario question about offenses to Vaishnavas. You able to hear me, right? Clear? Okay. Suppose a devotee offend another devotee. Suppose the devotee A offends devotee B, realizes it later and apologizes. But devotee B either forgives nor acknowledge to devotee A. Will devotee A offense was forgiven? Okay. That's a question. Question is A committed some mistake to B and B does not acknowledge or forgives. So what will happen to that offense of A in spite of A seeking forgiveness? So the response to that is situation. We need to know two cases. One is if A offended B by not giving proper respect, B doesn't forgive in spite. Okay, so I think Bhupal Prabhu, I think there's some error in the message that I sent. Anyway, case one, if a devotee A offends devotee B, and then devotee A goes and seeks forgiveness to B sincerely, and if B does not forgive, then Krishna will forgive A. Okay, even if B doesn't forgive, but A was sincere in his or her attempt. Now, case two is if a devotee A offended devotee B, but then devotee A have not taken a correct measure. All devotee A does is simply for the sake of asking forgiveness, goes and asks, so that the devotee A knows uh, he has to have ask forgiveness, otherwise, he will get sin or Krishna will be not happy and he cannot progress in Krishna consciousness. But the devotee A still have the idea that devotee A has not committed mistake, but then for the sake of asking forgiveness, because someone tells you should ask forgiveness, therefore devotee A goes to devotee B and asks forgiveness from the lips, not from the heart, without taking corrective measures of rectifying whatever the mistakes has been done. Then in that case, it doesn't matter whether devotee B forgives or doesn't forgive, Krishna doesn't forgive. Make sense? Yeah. This was questioned by Bhupal Prabhu. Bhupal Prabhu, is it anything that you want to add, or are we okay with it?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, from devotee A's point of view, that is, yeah, that's fine. But I was also asking for devotee B's point of view. So, if A seeks forgiveness and B does not forgive, does B also get some sin for that?
Uh, you know, if B, if the B, if the A comes and surrenders and sincerely seeks for forgiveness, then B does not forgive. B definitely losing out something. Not it doesn't get a sin, but it loses some value of virtue, if that makes sense. It doesn't get sin as such, but then it is said in the Kshatriya case, it's different. When someone has come and surrendered to a Kshatriya, and then the Kshatriya doesn't forgive that person and still goes ahead and kills or things, then that's a sin on a Kshatriya part. But then in general, what happens is that if B does not forgive A, um, because the B is not convinced that A is sincerely apologizing, then B is just losing its virtue rather than saying that it is going to cure some sin. There's a there's a difference between getting a bad karma and getting losing some points, some virtue points. Does it make sense, Bhopal Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Because this is like a Vaishnava quality forgiveness, so that's
Yeah, it's just losing a quality that's needed for that particular situation. It is lost. And if it continues to be the same, what happens is that then that will lead that devotee B to commit sins eventually. If that is the nature of the devotee B, for always not accepting the mode of forgetting and forgiving for any situation for everyone, then naturally it's going to go down of losing that virtue and good qualities, and then start finding faults and becoming blaming others. And it just whatever the A was committing, B will start committing eventually later over the period of the time. Okay. Okay, what are the questions we have?
Prabhu, in this case, sometimes A may not able to tell the forgiveness to B, rather he tells to Krishna, is it forgiven, or it has to tell to B only? Because there are some circumstances or some time back, because it is hard to tell to again B, so rather we discuss with Krishna, is it forgiven, or we have to tell to forgiveness only to B?
So there was one saint. A saint was born in a low class family, low birth, um, and then is not allowed to enter into the temple. He doesn't enter into the temple. He stays outside the temple near the lake over there, pond over there, and plays veena and praises the Lord and sings the greatness of the Lord, Sri Ranganath. And there's another devotee of the Lord who performs puja for Ranganath, is a Brahmana. He comes to the pond to take bath and then goes and performs service to the Lord. So as he was there, he went to the pond and he took his bath. And as he was coming, he noticed that this particular Shudra devotee was completely standing, I mean, forgot about himself, and he was just singing songs. And what happened was this devotee, Brahmana devotee, was telling him to move, and he did not listen. He took a stone and hit on that person to tell him that just move out of here. And then he fell at the feet and seek for forgiveness. Who? The one who got hit seeks for forgiveness and moved away from that place. When this devotee um, went to the temple door he was not able to open. It was closed. He tried his best, he couldn't open. The Lord within inside spoke that the only way that you can open here is to bring the devotee of mine over here who's standing outside. And he understood the mistake that he committed. He went back to that devotee and requested him to come along with him to the temple. And he said, I cannot enter the temple. I'm not qualified to enter the temple. I cannot put my foot inside. And Munivahanar, the one who's offended is Munivahanar. So, Rishi, so he said, I'll carry you on my shoulder and take you. And then he carried that devotee, Shudra devotee, on his shoulder and walked inside the temple. That's number one example. Number two example, Sugriva in Ramayana was beaten badly by Vali. when Sugriva came back to Rama and he asked Rama, why is that you said you'll kill Vali? What happened to you? And Rama said, I couldn't differentiate between you both, which is not the true thing. Rama knows who's Vali, who's Sugriva. Therefore, let's do something. You, Lakshmana, go to Lakshmana. Lakshmana will garland you, and then you go. Now I'll make a difference of who's Vali. The one with his garland is Sugriva, and another one is without garland is Vali. So he went to Lakshmana. When you're taking the garland, you should not stand like this. It's usually naturally we bend, right? He bent, and Lakshmana offered the garland, and he went and he was successful because initially Sugriva was proud and that he had Rama's association. Therefore, he ignored Lakshmana. He offended Lakshmana by not taking care of Lakshmana properly. Therefore, Rama wanted to make sure that he is corrected. So, therefore, Lakshmana's blessing was there. Therefore, to answer your question, what is that makes A not to seek forgiveness from B is the question. Is it an ego problem? Is it a fear problem? What is the problem that is it such a big offense that he cannot even go in front of that person? What could be the reason? That A has to analyze and take an action accordingly. But it is always, if it is A is not able to do that one, A can, for example, in Bhagavatam, Indra offended Kṛṣṇa, considering Kṛṣṇa as a small boy. And Indra having offended Kṛṣṇa, and he was afraid to come in front of Kṛṣṇa. He made a big mistake. And who was there to help in between? The mother cow, Surabhi. She was taken, and she, with the help of Surabhi, he was forgiven. Indra was forgiven. Does it make sense?
Sure, Prabhu. Sometimes if B is not available, yeah, you said right, Prabhu, because ego and fear, because those.
He is not available in the world, he passed away, then obviously Kṛṣṇa is the shelter. One can pray to Kṛṣṇa. If B is still alive, then what's the problem? Okay?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. If we, in general, in this question comes, but then if we want to get our work done, for example, if B is the only one who can find me a job, say for example, and he's not available, we'll just let that as a reason and let it go. Somehow or the other, we try to reach to B. Somehow or the other, do you know where B is gone? Where is B? Is there another way of reaching B? So we have many, we know that there's a desperate need that I need a job. Therefore, somehow or the other, B is the only one which can give me a job. Therefore, I try to get hold of B. It depends on the sincerity and urgency of understanding what we really need. Or are we just trying to find reasons to be away, to not approach B, thinking that B is not available? Make sense? Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
In this case, if the habit of, many times it happens that the habit of B is like always getting into an argument, and it's like the situation is inducing A to commit more offenses. So we want to apologize or beg forgiveness, but the thing we know that as soon as we start apologizing, again there will be some more discussions and some more things happening, and we end up committing more offenses. That is the previous experience. So in that case, what should be done?
Always there should be a freezing period, time. It's better to let time speak over the period of the time, right? So it also and when you give a gap, it also matures the offender and one who's offended. Over the period of the time, they will grow. They will see the whole thing differently. At that point of time, if you try to connect again, the high chances it may not be the same way how it would have been 2 years back or for 10 years back, whatever years back or months back. So sometimes it's better to let time speak. It is not in a sense that I am avoiding to seek forgiveness or I am avoiding to forgive that person. It's an immature stage to seek forgiveness or even to forgive someone. Immature stage, because there's no value. For example, Arjuna wanted to forgive the Kauravas. It was enough. It's not going to work. If Krishna told, my dear Arjuna, I understand you're a devotee. You don't want to get into the fight and all those different things. You just want to be aware of all these things. But you know what? If you do that one, what Krishna said, if you do that one, what the other party is going to think? You
Yes.
just ran away out of fear. They're not going to appreciate you. They're going to think that you just ran away out of their power and fear. Seeing 11 akshogani, you have only 7 akshogani, you must have ran away. So Krishna said there are time, place, and circumstances. You got to use your intelligence when to take action, when not to take action. Sometimes better to be quiet. Sometimes you have to speak up. When you speak up, make sure it's the right time.
And the time, the gap which we are giving, and during that time, the repentance, the guilt, it becomes so heavy on our Krishna consciousness, we are not able to practice our own thing because that guilt is eating us up.
So we have to that's when we have to take shelter of the holy name. We have to take shelter of holy name. There's nothing need to be guilt about the situation. Yes, you recognize you means in general. We recognize the mistake. Yes, I've committed boo-boo, some mistake. And I feel this may, if I go and talk to this person, he may not forgive. It may get into an argument state. It may get into a further fight, and there could be more offenses I may commit. So I want to let this settle down for some time. Until that, let me strengthen my Krishna consciousness by chanting and hearing. Apply that in my chanting and hearing. And we will, amazingly, Krishna will empower us and give us proper ideas to see things.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. What are the questions we have?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If nobody else has questions, then can I ask another question?
Yeah, Prabhu. If I know, I'll answer.
So, Prabhu, this is related to last week's Bhagavatam class. So, in the last week's home program, there was a question actually.
You said last week Bhagavatam class?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, I might have. I don't remember, but go ahead, ask.
Yeah, so there was a question actually by the previous day home program that should we be fearful of God or should we love God? I mean, that was a general question. And then Prabhu was answering in the Bhagavatam class that it should be both. I mean, for a devotee, usually we think that okay, we should just love God, not be fearful. But at the same time, we should be fearful that if we forget Krishna, then Maya will affect us. So in that sense, we should be fearful. So Prabhu, I just wanted to elaborate on that and just ask. Maybe ask your suggestions or comments on that. So if you think of Krishna as our father, then in usual life, sometimes we are fearful of the father, right? Like if you do some mistake, then father might chastise us or even might punish us. So we are sometimes afraid of the father, and especially if the father is strict. So if you apply that here, so then we should also be fearful of Krishna in that sense, right? If you commit some mistake, then Krishna might punish us. So in that. So how do you understand that Krishna is all loving, so he never punishes his children? Or yes, we should be sincere that we should not commit any mistake. But no matter what we do, you do commit mistakes, right? So in that sense, should we be fearful that Krishna will punish us for our mistakes? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Yeah, I think it should we be fearful or should we be loving?
Right. I mean, in general, we should, yeah, both. But to what extent we should be fearful, and to yeah, I mean, because we do know we will make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Once we understand the Krishna consciousness to an extent that love of Krishna is what we are all trying to achieve, then what happens is that more than fear, shame must come. Shame should come in us if you're not able to do something. I would not really define that under the category of fear because Krishna, fear is definitely in the beginning stage, fear is definitely needed. And we all started, or most of the devotees, or most of the people start bhakti out of fear. If I don't do this one, what will happen? If I don't do those Devata puja, will the Devata get upset with me? If I don't do this, etc., etc., right? Therefore, there is always fear when we start our initial stages of bhakti. But what happens is that once you come to a proper understanding of what bhakti is, what Krishna is, how great he is, how compassionate and merciful he is, then what should start within us is not fear. We should be ashamed of not able to reciprocate to Krishna for what he is. So rather than bringing fear in the front, we should feel, my God, it's look at Krishna. I'm continuously committing offenses. Continuously in my deity worship, sometime I hit Krishna Jagannath's right hand. Sometime I poke the needle while putting the crown. Sometime I do not focus when I'm offering the prasadam. Sometimes I sometime out of anger I offend devotees. But look at Krishna is still letting me into this Krishna consciousness. He is still letting me and forgiving me and giving me chances after chances. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? I should be shameful about it. My father or my mother is loving me so much, and I just on their birthday go and look throughout the place. I come to a new place called Dallas, and then I'm searching everywhere to find a gift. Finally, I found a gift which I wanted from a $1 shop because $1 shop is not available here. I have to go 2 hours driving to find a dollar shop so I can find a dollar shop and send all to my parents that happy birthday or Mother's Day or Father's Day. Should I be ashamed or should I be proud about that I drove 2 hours to get a gift for my parents? Driving 2 hours is not a big deal. What you get from driving 2 hours makes a difference. Right? Of course, the parents is not looking for whether you're giving $1 or $100, but it is our responsibility to be sensible of having that gratitude for what Krishna has given to us. Therefore, we should be ashamed rather than being fearful, would be my way of seeing things. Because when you feel ashamed, it makes you wanting to do more things. If you're doing out of fear, it just keeps a distance between us and my father. Always. The fear keeps away that he's going to be upset, he's going to be angry, he will punish me, he'll punish me, he'll punish me. We are not seeing the positive aspect of Krishna as he's compassionate, he's compassionate, he's compassionate. I have to do more, I have to do more, I have to do more. The other until he's going to punish me, I am fear, therefore I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. Which is more stronger? Rectifying our mistake out of being shameful or rectifying our mistake out of fear, which is going to stay longer, is what we have to decide. That comes over the period of the time in our Krishna consciousness. Initially, it may be out of fear, which is okay to start with. But that should not be the reason over the period of the year that out of fear only I'm doing things. I should be ashamed I can do more for Krishna. I should be ashamed I can give extra $100 to the temple. I'm only giving $50, $1. What am I doing? Krishna is giving me so much. I'm only giving this much. I should be ashamed. If I don't give this $100, Krishna will not give me salary next month. Therefore, I have to give extra $100 so Krishna can continue. That's a different mood altogether. We don't need to have fear in our relationship with Krishna. After we have been practicing Krishna consciousness for some time, we should be ashamed. But that again, connecting the same thing to Amoganam Prabhu saying, shame should not become a depressive thing for us to feel guilt. It is a thing to rectify our mistake and move forward in Krishna consciousness. Correct and move forward. Otherwise, we'll take another mood into our, oh, I'm feeling guilty, I'm ashamed, I'm not doing anything. What's the use of you feeling ashamed, not correcting the situation, getting into the mood of depression or guilt feel? That's also not good. Gopal Prabhu, does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, that helps.
The mature devotee will think Krishna has given me beautiful family, wonderful, good job, wonderful parents, all the devotees. What can I do for him? Krishna has given me beautiful family, good job, wonderful devotees. If I don't do this one, Krishna will take away this one. My job, my family, something will happen to my family. We don't need to do those. Get into that program. Rather, think on the other angle. What can I do more for Krishna? And we feel ashamed of what we're not able to do. And try to come to a point where we can do more with Krishna. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, there's no questions. Everything is clear. So if that is the case, if you are interested and you have time, um, I'd like to share something on the same topic from Mahabharata, some slokas and some points. Is it okay? Thumbs up. Okay. This is from Anushasana Parva. And within Anushasana Parva, there is another Parva called Dhana Dharma Parva. And this a beautiful conversation takes place. Again, there are hundreds of slokas in this particular adhyayas, number of adhyayas. Number of slokas are there. I'm just going to give you some small, a spoon of honey to taste it, how it is. It's beautiful, at the same time scary. Okay. The conversation takes place between Mother Pārvatī and Lord Shiva. There's a sambhavana, there's a conversation takes place between. I'm not giving a lot of background how this conversation took place and before that what happened and all those different things. Of course, this is Narada Muni is telling to the rishis, and the rishis and Narada Muni are standing in front of Krishna, and Krishna said something, and after that the sages turn towards Narada Muni, and Narada Muni is saying something to the sages, and that's how this little background. I just want to focus on actual thing here, otherwise we'll get carried. Mahabharata is, when you go into Mahabharata, then you'll get lost. So I want to be focused here. Now, the conversation takes place between Mother Pārvatī and Lord Shiva. Mother Pārvatī is asking, just a little background. Lord Shiva was in meditative mood in Kailash. He was in a meditative mood. At that time, Mother Pārvatī was walking and coming, to meet Lord Shiva, and all the Bhutaganas, all the servants of Lord Shiva were all there. They offer their pranams to Mother Parvati, and Mother Parvati was carrying a pot with some tirtham, holy water, and coming to her husband. And when she came, Lord Shiva opened his eyes to see who's coming. But then what Mother Parvati did is like children plays, right? They try to go and hide in the back and close the father's eye or mother's eye, right? Kids does that. And Mother Parvati was in a playful mood. She was in a playful mood. So she ran behind Lord Shiva and then closed the eyes of Lord Shiva. As soon as the eyes were closed, a big disaster happened. What happened was his two eyes were closed. To everyone's surprise, a third eye opened from his forehead. The third eye opened from his forehead. From that eye, a big illumination, a fire, a heat got produced. And then it started burning out the beautiful, it's a beautiful, Kailash is said, beautiful place, right? So everything got destroyed, burnt into ashes, the animal died, the birds died, everyone was shivering, don't know what to do. And this is what happened. And then Mother Parvati felt that she has offended, she has committed something bad, that she shouldn't have done this one. And then she fell at the feet of her husband, and all the rishis and everyone fell at the feet of Lord Shiva, and then told what's happening here, please restore everything and please show your mercy. And then somehow or the other, the Lord Shiva then brought back everything to its original state. Original state. There are many discussions happens, why this happened, and so forth. Skipping those parts. And then Mother Parvati asked questions to Lord Shiva that why do you wear this matted hair? Why you are carrying the trishul? Why are your body is fully smears with the ashes? Why you reside in a cemetery? Why are you wearing this lion deer skin? Why do you have a bull? And she asked a lot of such questions. Maybe this could be a discussion for the future Shivaratri when we have. Why? And it's beautiful answers, and Lord Shiva answers all these questions very to Mother Parvati's satisfaction. The conversation takes place, and then she asked questions about the Varnashrama system. What are this Varnashrama system? What are the duties of a brahmachari? What's the duties of a grahastha? And so many things. He asked about those many questions, and Lord Shiva answers. Very beautiful discussion. This Sambhavana is so beautiful. So this conversation takes place. After some period of the time, then Mother Parvati asks some set of questions. अथ केचित् प्रत्यश्यन्ते मानुषेषु मानुषाः दुर्गताः क्लेशभूयेस्त धानभोगविवर्जिताः. So she asked Uma. Uma means Mother Parvati. She asked, my dear Lord, there are some men who are afflicted with misery, and they are not able to enjoy their life. They're always out of fear. What are the reasons? What could be the reason for such people to go through this one? This is the question. Like this, she asked hundreds of questions completely related to karma. Everything related to karma. And you will be amazed to see, this is generally, people ask this question, Prabhu, I don't remember why is that we don't remember the previous birth? If I know my previous birth, I won't make the same mistake now. That's a very valid question. Unless and until the police officer or the court tells this is your offense, this is what you committed, therefore we are punishing you, then I know that this is the reason I committed the mistake, therefore next time I will not commit that mistake. Now in all of our case, your case, my case, everyone's case, we are suffering. And when we come and talk to someone, they say it's all because of your karma. Okay, I agree that's karma is true. Now tell me, what is the reason? What is that I did? Therefore, what is the cause of my effect? Of the effect? There should be, if there's an effect, there should be a cause. There cannot be something just comes out of nowhere. Cause and effect theory is strongly embedded into our Sanatana Dharma for everything. There is a cause. Therefore, you tell me I am suffering now. You tell me what is the reason, what is the mistake I've done in the previous life that I can be rectifying that. Here is the problem. The problem is that first thing, before I read the answers here, but I want to tell you that here's the problem. Please understand, for the mistake that we have done, it is not necessary there's going to be a one-to-one reaction. You did this, therefore exactly you get this one. There could be also. There could be you suffered, you did something, you're going to get the same thing in next lifetime where you go through the same suffering is also true. Whereas we might have committed a sin which may not necessarily end up in one punishment, it may take multiple punishments. The severity of the sin that one may committed may take multiple punishment, or even it may take multiple lives to get rid of that sin by suffering. So this one thing we have to have in mind always. Okay, now let's see what Parameshwar or Maheshwara says this one. Ye pura manuja devi asuram bhava samshritaha krodho lobho loba samayuktaha nirannadyascha niskriyaha. So he says that, my dear goddess, my dear Uma, the people who are foolish, atheistic, cunning, and they are captivated by anger and greed and only feed themselves, they are the people in their next birth, when they take birth, they go through sorrow. They suffer. They will not be happy in their life. They will be always in the fear of what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to me, things like that. Now, moving on, Uma is asking the next question. Bhavan Devadevesha Mama Preet Vivartana Jatyandhasaiva Drishyante Jatava Nashta Chakshusah Kena Karma Vipakena Tanme Shamshitu Margasi. Please tell me, my dear Lord, or what reason they have to, what karma is a cause of this one. Now our question is, I see in the world some people are blind, born blind. Some people lose their sight after birth. What is the karma that they must have done that they have to go through this one? Now, ye pura kama karena paraveshmevu lolupaha. So he says, Dandita yama dandena nirayascham chiram priya. He said, what happened? The reason that they are going through this one is because their eyes have fallen on other women in the previous life. If your eyes are on other women, then you be born as blind in your next life. Therefore, we have to treat everyone as Matajis, not look at other women as your sense of, or as a feast for your eyes. If you do that, you be born as a blind in your next life. Like this, she's asking why someone is born as handicapped, why someone is having stomach problem, why someone is having heart problem, why someone is having cholesterol, why someone is having diabetics. You won't believe, for all those things, answers are there in this Anushasana Parva. This is called Shankara Gita. Mahabharata has Bhagavad Gita. Likewise, Mahabharata also another Gita called Shankara Gita. A beautiful conversation of all these karma topics, Varnashrama Dharma, all those different things, is conversation between Shankara and his beloved wife, Pārvatī Uma Devi. Now, But please understand, while I'm reading this thing and telling this thing, I'm restricting myself what I'm going to share. The reason is our mind is so great. We will not apply this thing to ourselves. We'll apply this to other. Oh, that person is blind because he has seen whatever, we have seen a woman, etc. We don't need to get into that mood. It is for our purification to make sure next time we are not born as blind. If at all we have to take birth. Hmm? So the next question is, Uma is asking, Mukaroha yuktaha kechit drishyanta satatam naraha kena karma vipakena tanme samshutu maharkashi. Every shloka will end up with the last line, kena karma vipakena tanme samshutu marhasi. I like to hear this one. Could you please tell me what is the karma behind this, where this person has to have this problem? Now, some people have a mouth problem, mouth disease, right? Some people have mouth problems. What is the reason people having some disease of mouth? What could be the reason? They lose the teeth, they lose some cavity, they have some lot of cavity, they have all this different things. What is the problem? She's asking. Now, Maheshwar is telling, Hantate katayashyami shunu devi samahita Kuvakta rashtu e devi jihvaya katutum brisham asatyam parashum ghoram gurun prati paran prati. So he's telling that, listen to me very attentively. I'm glad to answer your question. Those people who speak rude, harsh word, false talks, lies, and use their tongue to show their anger, they will have mouth disease. They will have mouth disease. You have to be careful with that. Now, Uma is asking next question. I'm going to skip many here and only go to few things. To understand how karma works, yeah, here's another one. Heart problem. You want to know what's the problem of heart problem? When you go to doctor, there you have a heart problem, you have a blockage because of the high cholesterol. The doctors give some reason. Because of this cause, you have a heart problem. Because of this one, genetic problem, genetic reason, you are having sugar problem. Your father had, your grandfather had, therefore you have a sugar problem. We know all these reasons. We can also tell the same thing. Oh, Prabhu, you have a sugar. Oh, maybe your parents, someone has. Now, Lord Shiva is not telling because of genetic problem or cholesterol problem. He is giving karma problem. Why you have a heart problem? Okay, let's see this one now. Drishyante satatam deva vyadi bhiramishhans tiraihi. Now she is asking, what is the problem for heart? Disease of the heart. What karma would have caused heart problem? Now Lord Shiva is telling. Now he is telling. My dear Devi, those men who destroyed the chastity of a woman in a previous life, who has spoiled the virgin of a girl or a widow, or having a cunning lust, have to go through heart problem. Have to go through heart problem. Please understand. Do not start thinking someone devotees are having this one. Prabhuji, last birth. I know what you have done, Prabhuji. You please not make offense to this thing. Be careful when you are hearing these things and don't see others with these lens. This is all just I'm repeating so that we don't commit these mistakes. That's all the idea is. Nothing else. Okay, let's move on. My dear husband, Bhagavan Manushaka Kechit Dangha Hinasya Pangavaha Kena Karma Vipakena Tanme Samshitu Marhasi. My dear Lord, please tell me, what is the karma that one must have done for one to become handicapped or paralyzed? Paralyzed or handicapped. Ye pura manuja devi lobha moha samavritaha. So he says here that I'm little bit here and there reading the slokas because you should know that it's all coming from Vyasadev, not from me. Otherwise, you will think that I'm making up all those things. So it's not. Okay, so answer for that is being paralyzed or handicapped is because in the previous life they were covered by greed and attachment, committing violence to lives, many lives, and also to themselves, to their own body. Sometimes what happens in the name of religion, some people torture their own body, which is not prescribed in the scriptures. We only fast, we only do austerity as is given in the scriptures. If you try to do something more than that on your own way, torturing the body, then this is a problem. What's the problem? Next lifetime, we may be born as a handicap, we may be born as a paralyzed person. Therefore, one should be careful not to do such things as in the name of religion, to do things more than what has been prescribed to do. Okay. Why some people have a feet problem? Some people have feet problem, right? Feet pain and this pain and that pain on their foot. What is the problem? What is the reason for that one? For that one, Lord Shiva is telling that out of anger and greed, if someone disrespect the deities, disrespect the deity by kicking the deity, the form of God, or keeping the deity in a place which is not respectful, right? You're walking and the deities are also on the same level. You keep Krishna's murti or a picture or even Bhagavad Gita on the floor and you're walking on the floor. It is as good as kicking the book, kicking Krishna. Please understand. Sometimes I also see this is not good practice. Sometimes I see devotees are keeping Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam on their lap and reading. It is not good practice. Anything under the waist, we should not take it. Okay, we should not keep the books on our lap and read. Rather, you keep some small table or something on top of your lap and then keep the book on top of it and read. That's another small point. If you have done that one, don't worry. Going forward, don't do that one. Don't keep books or chanting bags on the lap. It is not good practice. It's a disrespect. So Mother Pārvatī is asking, what is the reason for disease of the feet? And Maheshwar is saying that Ye pura manuja devi krodho lobha samanvitaha manuja devatasthanam swapadhai brahmasyan tyuta. So he is saying that out of anger or greed, if one disrespects the deities, strike them off with knee, ankle, or some of these things, also kicking the animals, all those things falls into the disease of feet problem. This is commonly used if you go to the airport. We can see if you are staying in the queue for getting into the flight, right, to check in, and you will have the passengers will have their carry bag put on the floor. Instead of carrying that and moving further when the queue moves, what they do is they move their bag with their foot, kick it and move it out. Have you seen this one? People move their bag on the floor with their foot as the queue moves forward. And that is all not good. That is why it is important we should not touch anything, whether it's a living entity or non-living entity, except your shoes, which is meant to be serving the foot. You would not kick or touch anything with your feet. We'll have feet problem. Okay? You may hear the pages turning around fast. I'm skipping a lot of slokas here. Okay, sometimes people doesn't have children. They're married. They are making many attempts. They're going to the doctor, they're doing this and that, but they don't have children. Bhagavan Manusha Kechin Nirupyatyaha Subhaditaha Yatanto na Labhantyeva Apatyani Yatastaha. kena karma vipakena tanme samshutu marhasi. My dear Lord, men grieves because they are childless. What is the reason some people does not have children? By what karma does this happen? Now, Maheshwar is saying, my dear wife, it is because of the cruelty that was performed to the living entities in their previous lives. They have killed and eaten young antelopes, birds, and they have hated their guru and find faults in others' sons. Please understand this point. For us, always our children are gold, good. My neighbor children are not. That mentality should go away. Being finding fault in others' children, do not have proper respect to the ancestors, those people, and do not perform the shraddha, whatever is needed to be performed for the ancestor, that has not been done, the stop. Those people, there's no value for them to have children. Therefore, they will be bereft of children, childless. Okay. There are some people who are born as neither male or nor a female, right? Eunuch is called. And even some people are impotent, where they cannot produce offspring. And some people are coward, very much afraid. For anything, they will be scared. They don't have that braveness, right? So Pārvatī Devi, Uma is asking, what is the reason for such things? Could you please explain why some men are seen coward, impotent, eunuch? What is the reason for this one? And Maheshwar is going to say that he is saying that I'll tell you the reason. Listen, the men who are first engaged in terrible deeds, subsistence of act of destroying the manhood of animal. This is all happening. What's happening is they try to search, what is that word called? I don't know the right word. They try to cut off or do things where these animals cannot produce offspring. Their manlyhood, the manhood is taken away. Such people have to be born as eunuch. Such people have to go through all these different things as a coward, and so forth. Okay. In the world, you please tell me if you want me to stop. Otherwise, I'll go for some more time. Want me to continue? Yeah. Okay. Now, Uma is asking, my dear Lord, Drishyante manushe loke sarva kalyana varjitaha. Bhavan devadevesha pramadha vidavan brisham drishyante manushe loke sarva kalyana varjitaha. Yena karma vipakena tanme samshitu margasi. She's asking, oh Devadeva, why there are some young women appears to be widow very soon. They are married, but soon they lose their husband. They become widow. What could be the reason for this one? Devi, please hear. In their previous life, kutumbam tatra vai patyurunasyanti vrita tata. He says that in the previous life, they destroyed the husband's family. They were cruel to their husband. They hated their husband, and they established relationship with another man. For such people, they will be punished in Yamaloka. And once they've been punished, when they take birth again, and they have to go through an early widow, becoming an early widow in their life. Okay. Here's another interesting question. She's asking, Sarva papa haram cheti ayamedam vadanti cha. Prayachittam chanyani papananya nasya kurvati. Papanashaya kurvati. Tasman maya samsyatyam tvam tachit miraharhasi. He is asking that it is said by performing Ashwamedha Yaga that destroys all the sin. By performing Ashwamedha Yaga, the sins will be destroyed. People do other atonement for removing their sin. So I have a doubt on this one. Then where is the point of suffering and enjoying? People do Ashwamedha Yagya and get rid of the sin, or people do atonement for their sins. Here you say that people will suffer for etc. etc. And I'm not able to understand. Could you please tell me how to understand this logic, this whole thing? Maheshwar says, please understand there are two kinds of sins. One which is always committed deliberately with a purpose in mind. Please understand this one here carefully. Two kinds of sin. One which is always committed deliberately with purpose in mind. And other is that which is committed suddenly without knowing it. Right? Jnanakritam, Ajnanakritam. If you remember, we spoke about this in our chart. Jnanakritam, Ajnanakritam. Jnanakritam means where we are committing deliberately, I want to do this to this person. I will make sure that person suffers. Right? This is committed deliberately with an idea in our mind. Another one is I did something which I didn't even realize that I did this one. Okay, now, he who commits a wrong deed out of anger with desire for accomplishment of something, some purpose, his karma is no means destroyed. Lord Shiva is telling. So she's telling that karma which is done deliberately for some purpose, that karma will not go away. One has to suffer for that one. Whereas, that thing has to suffer even if performs Ashwamedha Yagya or any penances or any of those things. It doesn't matter. They have to suffer for that. Okay. I'm just keeping some of these things for you. Okay. Interesting question. What is cause of karma? Bhagavan Devadevesha Manushas Chetara Api Mriyante Manusha Aloke Karana Karanadhapi Kena Karma Vipakena Tanme Samshitu Marhasi. What is the cause of karma? Who die for some reason or without any cause. So he's asking what is the cause of these things? And why someone dies with cause, some reason. What's the reason for someone's cause? Okay. So he's giving a general answer over here. It's because of their sin that has been committed to other living entities, other creatures, poisoning them, killing them with weapon, and etc. etc. This is the cause of the karma for one who has to go through a death in a miserable way. In a miserable way. Beautiful question. You like this one. You like this one. Since you're all not asking any questions. Now, on behalf of you all, Mother Pārvatī is asking this question. Beautiful, really nice question. Have you ever thought that, I don't know, my time is not good. Have you ever said this dialogue at all? If anyone was not told this dialogue, I think my time is not right now. Something grahas, some Shani graha, some this graha, something. Maybe I should take my chart to astrologer and check what's going on with my life. Anyone have not done this one? Maybe you're not done, then it's very nice. Keep away. Anyway, whatever you want to do. But everyone had this question. Bhagavan Bhanetragna Manushanam Vichistitam sarvam atma sarvatma kritam cheti shutume bhagavan matam. Loke griha kritam, griham means planet, right? Loke griha kritam. She's asking the same question. How karma and planet works? Have you ever thought? We are all thinking because the stars are not proper, I have to suffer now. That's how people generally think. Something is not right. It is not sitting in the right house, 11th house or 4th house. The Shani is on the 4th house. My God, and all these different things. Therefore, my time is not good. That's how people generally think, and therefore they do Shani Puja. Go to the temple, and and the Shani Bhagavan is there. For your information, at least from where I am, if you don't like someone, people curse that one. He's a Shani. He's a Shani. Shani is such a planet of all the planet, the very dangerous, I would say, or very fearful planet is Shani. Because what happens is every planet moves fast. When they move fast. The only planet does not move fast is Shani. His shares go very slowly, 2.5 years. Very slow. It just takes its own time. You know why? If you like, I can tell you the reason for that also. Like to hear the story? Okay. What happened was, before the story, you understand the meaning of Shani is not a bad word. Shani Chara. His name is, we all say Shanishwara. Ishwara. His name is Shanishchara. Shanishchara. But what happened is now many people call Shanishwara. Ishwara. He is not Ishwara, by the way. Shanishchara. Shani in Sanskrit means that which moves slow. That which moves. Chara means to move. Shanishchara means that one who moves slow is called Shanishchara. That is how he got his name. Shanishchara. One who moves very slow. When Shani comes into our house, it's going to take its time to move slow. One of the reasons he's moving slow is because he is handicapped. One of his leg is cut off. One of his leg is cut off. This is another story where you will enjoy this story. What happened was Ravana. Again, please understand these stories are all true and fact, and you may challenge what was Shani before this story. Apply the same principle of was Lakshmi married to Vishnu before? Did Vishnu had Chakra and Shankha before the churning of the ocean, or has only happened after the churning of the ocean? So we have to understand and take this as the pastime for us to enjoy this thing, which is two stories, but this is all existing eternally, forever. Anyway, likewise, now Ravana wanted to have a son. He wanted to have a son who is like nowadays, what happens is when the doctor says that we have to do cesarean to get the child, it cannot be a natural birth. Immediately, the father and mother goes to the astrologer, Jyotish, and find out what is the right time, what is the right star, what is the right muhurta. Please give me that one. Therefore, I can give the time to the doctor, and he too can do the cesarean. My son or daughter will be in all auspicious things. Ravana did the same thing. Ravana wanted to have a son where all the gragas are sitting in one place, which will never happen. In the 11th house, for it, 11th house considered a special. So when all the gragas comes and sit on the 11th house, that means that child is a very special child. Everything is in favor of the child. But the problem is grahas cannot come together. They always in a different space and different time and so thing. It's just not going to happen. But the Ravana himself was a great Purohit, by the way. He knows astrology in and out. He's an astrologer by himself. But then he took advice of a great astrologist and he asked, what is the best time where I can have a child? Auspicious time. They all said, well, the only way you can satisfy your request is if all the planet come into one house. 11th house, then everything will be auspicious for you. And Ravana was so powerful, you won't believe, Ravana was so powerful, he summoned all the planet to come in front of him. And then he put them all in one room. He said, you're not going to move out of this room. Not only that, what in case if they try to escape or move from one position to another position? What he did is he tied them all together. He tied them all together. And he went. He was so happy that he's going to get a son who has all the wealth. Right? Now Ravana went. The 9 planets are inside, bound by the rope. They were discussing, hey, Ravana only is like this. If he's going to get a son with all our favor, then just imagine we cannot control that son. He'll destroy everything. We got to do something. We really have to do something so that his wishes is not fulfilled. They were thinking what to do. They turned to Sanishwar. You are the only one who can create problems to everyone's life very nicely. Therefore, you have to do something. Shanishwar thought for a minute. He said, well, Ravana only tied us over here, not our legs. So what Shanishwar did is, he lifted his leg and put it in the next 12th house. He put his leg in the 12th house. And child was born. And then Ravana was so happy he got a perfect son. But then the Prabhuji said, we told you, we warned you that every planet should be in one place. Looks like looking at your chart of your newly born son, looks like there's a big problem for him. Your son is going to be a big problem for him. They said, what's the problem? I did everything. You go and see what you've done. When he went to the room and opened the door and saw Sanishwar is having his foot on the other house, like this. And Ravana became so angry, he took a sword and cut off that leg of Shanishwar. Shanishwara, therefore, is also moved slowly because of this reason. But I completely got deviated into Ramayana. Well, let's come back here and pause. If we have any questions, we can talk later. Let's go through this story. Okay, this is the question, right? And now I remember why I said this story. So, my dear Lord, it is because of the karma that one has to suffer, or it is because of the constellations of the planetary system that one has to suffer? That's a question. So let's see the beautiful answer here. Maheshwar is saying, please understand, my dear wife, it's a beautiful question. Please understand that nakshatrani grihaneschaiva shubha ashubhoni vedakaha. He says the planetary system are just an instrument, but they are not the cause of people's suffering. They are not the cause of people's suffering. It is the karma of the person, and the planetary planets and all those things becomes in a way, sets in such a way that the karma of the person can happen. The planetaries are only an instrument. They are not the cause of one's suffering. Therefore, what one has to do is, rather than going behind the planets, Navagraha Puja, Shanishwara Puja, all those different things, what are we trying to do? If the police has to punish you for the mistake you've done, and you're going and trying to bribe the police not to punish, the police is going to be out of job. The government is going to fire the police because they have not done their job. Therefore, rather than going to the Sanishwara, going to the Rahu, Ketu, and all the different planets, try to address the root cause of the problem. Root cause of problems are not the planets. Root cause of the problem is your karma. That's all the point here. The root cause of everything is your karma, and the planet are just an instrument to make that karma happen. Make that karma happen. Right? Like how someone comes as an instrument in our life for our suffering, for our happiness, right? We know this, we discussed this one. If someone is giving us a hard time, right, that person is just an instrument of my own karma to reduce my karma. Same way, planets are there to facilitate our karma in such a way we can enjoy or suffer our karma. That's all. That's how it works. Therefore, please understand, Kevalam Grahanakshatram na karoti shubha ashubham. Please remember this line. Kevalam Graha Nakshatram na karoti shubham ashubham. It's easy to understand. Shubham means auspicious, ashubham inauspicious, na karoti means does not do. Who does not do auspicious or inauspicious? It is not only Graha or Nakshatra which does the auspicious or inauspicious. Then what is the cause of it? Sarvatma kritam karma lokavada graha iti. It is just one's own karma which makes these things happen. Okay. Here's another interesting one. You ask this question, why we all have to die? Does anyone have this question? Someone asked, why the creature who are born have to die? Why can't they stay here forever? Why can't they stay? Why can't we all stay here forever? Why we have to die? Please tell me, my dear husband, please tell me what's the reason for this one. Jata jata na tishtanti tanme samshutum arhasi. Bhavan pranino loke mriyanti kena hetuna jata jata na tishtanti tanme samshutum arhasi. For what reason do creatures die in this world? Why don't they stay here after they are born? Please tell me this one. Okay, now she says, Tadaham te pravakshyami shunu satyam samahitha atma karma kshat deham yata munchati tachunu. I'm telling you the truth about it, my dear lady, my dear wife. Please listen. How does the soul leave this body when enjoyment of karma is over? Listen to me carefully. Now, next few slokas, he explains why one has to leave, because the reason is they completed their part of karma in this particular life. Therefore, they cannot extend. They have to take another life and go through the pain of taking birth for more karmas to come in the next life. Okay. All right, let's see here. Another 3 more minutes. I'm going to pause and then take some questions if you all have any questions. Okay. She's asking another technical question. Is the
Hare
soul
Krishna.
soul?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I thought of just asking one question related to the previous
Yeah, go ahead.
discussion.
Go ahead.
So, Prabhu, yes, you mentioned, so the planets are, just an instrument of about the karma, right? Now, so they are not the cause of karma. That means, whoever take birth at a particular time or particular nakshatra and all, it's all happening based on their past karma. The
Yes.
Lord make an arrangement that, okay, you have to born that much time so that the planets will be assigned, it's aligned in accordance with your past karma
Exactly.
or the sufferings, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason. It's based on our karma, our chart get produced at the time of birth. It's based
Thank
on.
you.
Okay. Okay, here's one interesting thing, and I'll pause to open up for any questions. Okay, here the question is, my dear Lord, Bhavan pranino bhala drishyanti maranam gataha ativriddhascha jivanto drishyanti chira jivinah. Okay, that is, we can skip that part. He says, how one can live long and how one can make a life short. He says, ahimsa, satya, vachana, akrodam, shantir, ajavam, gurunam, nitya shushusha, vriddhanam, epi bhojanam. So he goes on saying that non-violence, truthful speech, renunciation of anger, forgiveness, simplicity, daily service to teachers, worship of elders, renunciation of undoable deeds with regard to purity, eating food at all times, etc., or virtue of long-lived life. If you want to live long, these are the things one can try to follow. Okay. Okay. I'm going to skip a few pages and just tell one thing, and then we can open up for questions. This will be another interesting thing where why some things are born as crow, some things are born as owl, some things are born as wolf, right? What is a previous reason birth that would have been committed by someone? Yeah, here. This is 500 pages, by the way, just few chapters, all about same topic in and out. Well, hard to find that slokas. But meanwhile, if you have any questions, we can go ahead and take questions, and I'll see if I can find those slokas. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So it's related to the previous question. So when we do Garbhodhan Sanskar, so is that to invite a soul whose past karma has been good?
Prabhu, repeat the question.
When you do Garbhodhan Sanskar to get a child, so is that to make sure that the soul which comes, so the previous karma that the soul had done, I mean in the previous births, so they're good in such a way that they don't get much bad karma in this life. Is that the reason?
Yes, Prabhu. They have been by doing Garbhodhana Samskara, and then the right soul takes residence in the womb of the mother. That has to be done on the right time, as prescribed. Otherwise, it will be like a Kashyapa Diti case.
But Prabhu, it's also true that like the children that we get, that's also because of our karma, right? So is that nullifying some of that karma by doing this samskar?
I didn't get the question, Prabhu. Say
No,
that
like I mean the children that we get or the children assigned to a particular parent, that's also because of the previous karmas, right?
based on our karma, we get our children also. That is true.
Right. So when you do Garbhodhan Sanskar, I mean initially let's say we don't do that, that means we'll get some children. But if you do that and get some you get a better children, so then that means we're nullifying some of the karma in that process.
Doing these are samskaras in Grahastha life. The samskaras has to be done irrespective of whatever the situation is. Samskara must be performed. Starting from the Garbhodhana Samskara, Antima, at the end. There are 16 samskaras one must perform. Because Shastra says we have to do, we have to do. By not doing, we are going against the scripture, therefore we are going to get bad karma. We'll be punished. Therefore, we are doing because Shastra says we have to do. If you want to have a child, you have to do this one. After the child, what all the steps that you have to do, that has to be performed. As a duty, we follow what is need to be done. And also as part of the Garbhodana Samskara, we also pray to the Lord that if you wish, let us get a nice child, a devotee child, and so on. Right? These are all from our side we have to do. But what comes out of it, we don't have control of that part. That is altogether depends on the Lord's choice, Lord's wish, whatever He wants to give, however He wants to give, based on our certain karmas. Many factors are involved for us to simply say that, yes, this one will definitely give this one. That's not how it works in the place of karma. But we have to do from our side what we are supposed to do. The result is left to Kṛṣṇa, destiny. This king who was a great devotee, but then he had a terrible, miserable son called Vena. Vena was just the father was such a nice devotee, but the son was horrible. But does it mean that something is wrong in his worship or something is wrong done by the father? Well, there is something Kṛṣṇa has planned for the father. Therefore, sometimes it may appear that I did everything correctly, but things are not going to go the way that I wanted. We have to change that to things are going fine as Kṛṣṇa wanted. That statement has to change in our consciousness. Things are not going the way that I wanted, Prabhuji. I don't know what to do. So the answer is, well, Kṛṣṇa has taken over the life and he is doing the way that he wanted in your life. That faith is definitely needed to make our life livable. Otherwise, we'll become miserable. If we keep on thinking nothing is going well, nothing is going right, we are going to be miserable. Our life will be shortened because of the mental problem. Our lifespan will be shortened. Rather, everything is Kṛṣṇa's plan. Things are going as per Kṛṣṇa's plan. But anyway, I've just added some extra points to your question, Prabhu. I'm not even sure if I was answering your question or not.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then with Pranam, Prabhu. Prabhu, like suffering our body, Prabhuji, like doing nirjal during Ekadashi is also suffering our body, Prabhu, is like because some people say like you can't suffer without drinking water throughout the day, like your body, like that, right, Prabhu? That's why like I'm asking.
No, it is Shastra Vihitam. It's a Shastra. Shastra says that we can do.
Okay.
Shastra says you fast, you do nirjal, you do nirjal.
Okay.
That's Shastra special. But if you're doing nirjal on some other day or doing nirjal, thinking that by not by doing fasting, I will reduce my weight. That is not the right consciousness. Or doing fasting and calling that as fasting for Kṛṣṇa some other days is also not necessary. We just do what has been told to do us. That's good enough. We don't want to do anything extra.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, my question is, I mean, is there a concession for the Pashu-Paksha, the animals? I mean, because some of the sufferings we only see in humans, for example, whatever cancer or like cholesterol problem and all other things, so like in human life, right? But I mean, is there a concession since based on their intelligence, some of these karmic actions are not applicable for animals and like
No,
birds?
yesterday, last week or 2 weeks back, I took Rukmini to downtown here to some place, a park. And she came running, and then she showed me a bird. She was feeling so bad seeing that bird. That one leg of the bird was cut off. Some accident has happened. Somewhere it got cut or whatever. It's not born as a handicap. There are animals take birth handicap also, but this was cut off. It can has to limp and jump and go. This luckily. Then I said, yeah, it is bad. She was feeling bad. I said, yeah, it's bad, but remember, Krishna is merciful that he has not taken the wings of the bird. Just imagine the wings are gone, the legs are gone. What's going to be happening to this bird? So yes, the birds. The thing is that the only thing is that the birds has to suffer. I mean, the animals has to suffer, but the suffering that they go through, um, the degree of suffering that they go through is the intelligence level is so less that they are not able to understand why this is happening. They cannot understand why that's happening. It just suffers, but it also goes through the pain. And animals also go through diseases, by the way. We have doctors, animal doctors. They also go through diseases. That's one thing. And the only good part of being born as animal, which is not good in one sense, is that they do not accumulate further karmas in their lifetime. When they are in the low species, they do not accumulate karmas because they do not have the complete free will of making discrimination of what is right and what is bad. Whereas we have the discriminative power, therefore we are accounted for what we do. The animals does not have that power to do that one. Their intelligence is limited, but they are special in their intelligence also, which human does not have. There are some specialities. Maybe the dog can smell from distance, etc., etc. Those are all different. Okay. Any other questions? So the whole point is we have been discussing about karma topic. So on that sense, coming back to Bhupal Prabhu's question, earlier question, when it comes to this one, we are to be fearful. We are to be fearful what karma will affect me if I do this one. That fear should be on us, not on Kṛṣṇa. No need to be fearful of Kṛṣṇa, but we are to be fearful of this thing called no other. I mean, I wouldn't say no other. Buddhism has, Jainism has karma concept, Buddhism has karma concept, and all the Sanatana Sadharshana has karma concept. But outside of this realm of what I just mentioned, outside they don't believe in karma. So there's a beauty of our thing is we have reason for what's happening in our life. For every single thing, there's a reason. So therefore, now we have to be careful what we do, what we think, what we speak, what we do. We have to be very careful on these activities. We don't want to accumulate anymore. I don't know if how many of you followed yesterday. Yesterday is the day called Avani Avittam. Avani Avittam means it's a special day, Upakarma, where the what happens. Upakarma means where on yearly once this day comes, where you have to change your sacred thread on that particular day, and you have to recite some Veda mantras and ask for Prayachitta and etc. etc. This is all done on traditional basis. What I was saying is that so we seek forgiveness to the Lord on this on this day, that I will please forgive me for all different types of offenses that I've committed. One day when I have time, when we have time, I'll go through what are the mantras says, different, please forgive me, I might have committed this sin, this sin, this sin, this sin. So many things are there we might have committed. I'm sure we all would have committed, no doubt about it, because we are expert in committing sins. So here we seek forgiveness, and that day was yesterday, Balram's appearance day. We seek Balram's blessings to give us strength, not to commit sins, but to not commit sins. Okay, what we have to pray to Baladev is give strength so that I don't commit sins. Not that we pray to Balaram, give me strength to commit sins mentally, verbally, and on a body level. But give me strength where I don't need to commit sins, because that is where we need strength. We are all so weak that we constantly make sins. So let's pray for a change. Let's pray to Baldev that give me strength where I'm so weak, so fragile in committing sins. But give me strength where I don't need to commit sins. I will not commit sins. I would pray that at the feet of Baldev. With that said, thank you all very much for joining this morning, and hope this was a useful session. I was just reading a bunch of slokas from Mahabharata and whatever I can, skipping hundreds of slokas, but it would have given an idea of this whole topic, Shankara Gita. Be aware of this one, and let's make our life successful in this very life. Let's not keep on telling next lifetime, Prabhu, I am still fallen. Next life, let's just not give excuse. It's not worth. It's not worth of taking more life to purify ourselves. We have a chance now here. Why we want to wait for another one more life or 10 more lives? Let's do the best that we could and leave the rest to Kṛṣṇa. And do whatever the best that we can do for show our gratitude to Kṛṣṇa for what he has given to us. Let's develop the love for Kṛṣṇa rather than being afraid of something. We don't need to do that part. Take responsibility, take ownership. This is the important message that I really want to convey to all of you as an aspiring devotee, and for myself also. Take responsibility, take ownership of things that's happening in our life. We just cannot keep blaming others. Temple president is not good, that Prabhu is not good, this Mataji is not good. Just let's stop this business. Let's take ownership. It's me. I have to correct myself and take a corrective action. Kṛṣṇa, Baladev, give me strength to do that one. Thank you all very much for joining this morning. Let's all meet again tomorrow at 5 o'clock to hear beautiful realizations from the devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please forgive me for any offenses at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna. And thanks for tolerating me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.